Hi, how's it going?
Good, good.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview.
Absolutely.
Well, it's great to be able to talk to you and talk about this brand new album, which is going to be coming out a month from today, which is so cool to see. I mean, that's going to be a great feeling for you.
Oh yeah, we're so excited.
Oh, awesome. Well, I've gotten the chance to be able to check out this album now for a little bit, and I just love what you're doing here. It's just like it's a great album from start to finish. I mean, you guys got such a great, unique blend of sound that's going on. I love the different peaks and valleys that are going on throughout it and great dynamics. I mean, this is going to be such a killer album when it comes out next month.
Yeah, I'm very, very proud of it. It's been a long time in the making, personally, just creating all these different movements and collaborating with each other to create like the most dynamic choices possible.
Oh, awesome. So, with that in mind, I mean, how did this all start? Like, how did this band come together?
Myself and Jeremy, one of our guitar players, knew each other through local bands, and we just happened to be both looking for bands at the same time and just found each other that way. And we started writing, and then Adia joined because we all knew each other through bands in our area. And then we recruited Chris and Ron, and the rest is history.
So, with that in mind, I mean, how did you know what direction you wanted to go into when you were starting this band? I mean, did you already have that in mind, or was it just something that came natural?
It was definitely something that came naturally. Like I knew I wanted to do everything I could possibly do vocally. I wanted to sing, I wanted to scream, and whatever's in between. And Jeremy comes from a very like European melodic death metal background. That's his favorite stuff, and we definitely bring those elements into Blackwater.
Yeah, and I definitely hear it too. I mean, you got such a great, unique voice, and you're able to hit so many different ranges that's going on with that. And of course, the backing band that goes along with that. I mean, you don't hear a lot of like traditional melodic death metal stuff coming from America here. And when you're able to hear that in an American band like this, it's just so cool to hear those two forces collide.
Yeah, for sure. Like I don't know of a lot of other like traditional like sort of European influence death metal, melodic death metal like what we do from United States. Normally it's more deathcore and American heavy metal and stuff like that, which is great and I love that, but I always really enjoyed the European style of melodic death metal and just wanted to play that.
Oh, and it so also with that in mind, I mean, obviously with getting the full band together and knowing the direction that things were going to be going in, I mean, when did things start to feel like it was going in the right direction with the band?
I feel like even from the start, we kind of knew the direction we were going and just kind of have refined it, and it's grown and evolved on its own since then.
Yeah, and I can definitely hear that too because I've discovered you from this album, but of course I went back and checked the older material, and I can just hear that progression and that core sound is there from the beginning. But just seeing how the progression of the band has come all the way here to 2022, it's really cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a fun ride for us too, because every time we think like, oh, I don't know how we're going to top this album, and then the next one we write, I'm like, wow, I like this. I feel like we really stepped it up on this one, and hopefully that continues forever.
So again, with that in mind, I mean, obviously with that progression that's been going on, and like with what you just said, what was it like to start writing for this album?
It was really natural. We just always keep constantly writing, and we started really meshing together as a band because we have had several different member changes throughout the years. Jeremy and Adia and I have been the core members who have stayed, and then we've had several changes to drummer and lead guitar player, or second guitar, I guess, because it hasn't always been a lead. But we, with the group that we have now, we just felt like we all were able to really work cohesively together, because Jeremy and Ron have actually been to together in bands for a long time before Blackwater happened. And so they already had that rapport going on. And yeah, we just kind of hit our stride, I feel like, on this album. It just felt really natural.
And I'm so glad to hear that too. And from the singles that I've seen released so far, and the amazing videos that come along with it too, I love the artistic direction of the different videos and everything. Like seeing the comments, like seeing so much positive reception for this. For these songs so far, like a lot of people like myself discovering you from this album and just seeing that positive reception coming along. It's so great to see that.
Yeah, it's been really awesome. We've been really lucky and fortunate to work with some really awesome videographers and photographers. And well, photographer. We have our specialized photographer. But yeah, it's the music videos all happen really naturally and just very creative processes that I'm really proud of it. And hopefully people see that and it comes across.
So, expanding on that a bit, I mean, what was it like to work on the videos for this album cycle?
Music videos are always interesting because, you know, you spend a day or more sometimes on this one music video that lasts for, you know, 3 to 5 minutes, and nobody sees everything that goes on behind the scenes, like all the light changes, the costume changes, the setup of the room. And I love the process. It's so cool to see the finished product and know what all had to happen to make that product a reality. And we had on, I think, all of the videos except the final unreleased one, we had like location changes the day before and we're just scrambling to make it work. But hey, pressure makes diamonds.
Oh, it's so very true. And again, just like looking at the final products of everything that's been released so far, I mean, it's just like everything from the colors, the visuals, the songs that you chose to do with the direction of the videos, whether it's like a full on story or you're getting to see the full band playing. I mean, just like everything that's going on there, it's a lot of great diversity that's going on, and it made for a great final product that way.
Yeah, I think the videos that I most enjoy watching are more dynamic like that. Like, I love watching a good performance video, and it's all in how it's shot, and the videographer has to have a good eye. But I think I'm really proud of the ones that we've produced.
Oh, so cool. And, you know, thinking about that as well, too, I mean, obviously there's so much that goes into, you know, the video aspect and, you know, being able to choose the right songs for those videos as well, too. I mean, what was that like to be able to decide what songs you wanted to release as singles?
Well, it was hard because I love every song on this album, and we just kind of honestly put it in other people's hands. Like, just asked a bunch of people, like, what do you think should be the ones that we make music videos for? Like, we had a couple that were our favorites, and then like the third one, we're like, maybe this one, maybe that. I don't know. Um, but getting some outside opinions really helped with that, because when you've created something, you're so close to it that it's hard to be objective, for sure.
Oh, it's so true. And especially like when you said you love every song on the album, and any of the songs off of this album easily could have worked as a single. I mean, it feels like a great collective when it comes to that. So, you know, sometimes it does help having those outside influences. And I think there were fantastic choices because again, the visuals match up so well with the songs. And I just feel like there's a great dynamic between all the singles that's been released, and it doesn't give everything away on the album too. It makes you want to go out and check out the full experience.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole goal for sure. I think on this album, I'm really proud that none of the songs sound exactly alike. Like, you can tell that they are all ours, but it doesn't sound like one is just it doesn't sound like one long song.
Yeah, exactly. And I love it when a band is conscious of that too. I mean, obviously having that core sound of what the band is all about, but you know, whether you're going slower, whether you're going faster, whether you're incorporating different instrumentation, adding keyboards or strings or going genre bending. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can go about things, but if you maintain what the band is about and you're able to expand what the sound of the band can be, I mean, it's limitless for where the band can go.
Absolutely. Like, just bringing in new influences and doing different arrangements or untraditional arrangements where maybe there isn't like a verse chorus structure. It's just like one continuous movement. Like there's so many options and ways to be creative.
Oh, for sure. And, again, speaking of that as well, too, I mean, especially when it comes to what you bring to the band, I mean, not just vocally what you're doing, but also lyrically what's going on, too. I mean, the more I listen and the more I hear the lyrics, like you write some really hard hitting lyrics, especially on this album. And it's so great to see like everything that you're tackling on this album, everything you're able to tackle vocally as well, too, and just being able to show all these different sides of yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I've always been a big reader ever since I was a kid, and I think it comes over in the lyrics that I write because I get really wordy, but I'll just like sit with a song and play it over and over and get an overall idea of what I think the song is about, what it's telling me it's about, and then I just go tiny piece by tiny piece and write my lyrics. And I think it ends up being pretty cohesive that way and helps everything blend together. But I have a lot to say and I like to speak on different subjects, whether it's something emotional or some world thing that's happening or what have you.
So with it in mind, I mean, when you are like tackling these issues, I mean, no matter what they are, like, how do you know what direction you want to go to for each song? Is there like a riff that you hear and inspires you to tackle a certain subject, or how does that go about?
Well, it just kind of varies. Sometimes I'll just get a feeling, and other times I'll have something on my brain and figure out a way to incorporate that into what the song needs. And yeah, it's very a case by case basis as to what I write or how I write it.
So with that, I mean, was there like any challenges for like any particular songs on like on any parts on your end, like like song structure or what you wanted to write about or how you were going to fit it in the song? Was there any examples of that?
Yeah, actually for I think Aberrant Leaves actually went through quite a few changes before what it ended up being. And some of that, it talks about corruption in places of power, and that can get really touchy with some people. And we're not trying to be like a super edgy political band or anything like that. So trying to get the point across of the feeling in such a way that it's universal and not pointed towards any one thing. And then the chorus originally didn't have any singing, and we wrote that in the studio at like 2:00 in the morning hopped up on so many energy drinks. And I love the finished product that it's become.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about that song right now, and just like hearing the clean vocals in that song, I can't imagine it any other way. And the fact that it wasn't written with that in mind before you got in the studio, that's so cool to see that, it's just like inspiration can hit at any time and can make a song even stronger.
Absolutely. Like when you're digging into it in the studio and singing every line like 3 times, you're like, maybe this would be cool here. And it's really cool when that happens because I think the most interesting things come out of that.
Oh, totally. And so, I mean, obviously with something like that, I mean, was there any other moments like that? Like any part of anyone else in the band have any moments like that?
Yeah, we've all had our various little moments of like, ooh, this should be here. It happened with I forget what song right now. There was one song where our drummer was like, I hear this part in the chorus. And I didn't originally have that plan or pattern, but when he said it, I'm like, oh, that works really well here. And everyone's always bringing new ideas to the table or like, oh, hey, we should change this riff here, or we should do this part there, or just rearrange the entire structure of the song. We're always, and then of course, as soon as you put it down and recording, you listen back to it and you're like, oh man, I should have done this here.
Yeah, again, just like going back on that, and just like inspiration can hit at any time, and it can lead to such great things. And it's great to see that you guys that you are so open between the whole band, being able to like try new ideas rather than just have everything set in stone before you going into the studio. I mean, because uh, any anything can happen, and any time that you can make the song stronger is always a great thing.
Absolutely. And it's just about whatever's going to make the strongest song. We don't have egos in the band. We're all just in it as a team to make the most badass music we can.
Oh, totally. So, with that in mind, I mean, what was it like to hear the final product for the first time? Like when you hear everything mixed and mastered and you finally got that back?
Oh man, that was a really good day. It's like such an emotional thing to see this little baby be born into the world because it really does become like just your child in a sense. You've spent so much time and effort and energy creating this thing, and then to hear it in such a way that everyone else, the way that everyone else is going to hear it too, is just, it's always surreal.
Oh, for sure. And I'm glad you mentioned surreal because, obviously with audibly and visually what's going on with the music videos and having all of that together means so much. But the album cover I find to be so surreal. I mean,
Yeah.
it's such a great representation of the album too. I just love the way it looks and it has that surreal feeling behind it.
Oh yeah, that was done by a friend of our managers. He's Dixon Jong, and he's super super talented. And we commissioned him to do the front cover, and he killed it. It's so cool looking.
Uh, did you have like an idea going into it, or did you just let him have free reign, or how did that go about?
That one came out of his brain, and because we had given him some direction for other ideas, and he was like, well, I also thought of this one, and that ended up being the winner. Sometimes it's interesting, you think you want it to be a certain way, and then someone else brings you a new idea, and you're like, yeah, that's it.
Oh yeah, and it's so cool. It came from like an outside influence like that too, because when I look at the album cover, it looks like something that is so representative of the album in general, and the fact that it came from like an outside influence like that, and just like hearing the music and just being influenced by the band. I mean, that's such a cool thing to be able to have that.
Yeah, for sure. It was a different process for us, for sure. We've had um I did a lot of the graphic design in the beginning. It's like our first album cover I did, and then I did so much of the graphic design, and now I don't do as much. And it's really cool to see what other people who are super talented come up with.
So, is that a conscious effort not to be doing the graphic design, or how does that go about?
It is a conscious effort now because I definitely held on to it really tightly just to, because that visual creative aspect is so important for the direction of a band, and to relinquish that to other people was really hard for me. But now we have kind of our, I guess, our staff photographer, Mac Brown, who does the majority of our visuals, and he's excellent. He always knows what we want and how to make it happen.
Oh yeah, and I can imagine, especially when you're first talking about releasing something like that, how hard of an idea it is not to have that creative control over it, especially when you have that creative mind and you have like so many ideas and you have the creative influences and you want to be able to show them off in your different ways, whether it's lyrically, vocally, art, conceptual, whatever the case is. But when you do have the full band conglomerate going on and you're able to find these great people that are able to help your vision get even stronger as a whole, I mean, that can be such a great thing.
Oh yeah, like nobody can do it all, and it's very unrealistic to think that you can do all of the art for a project like this. It just doesn't. Nobody's got the time to do everything.
Oh, for sure. And yeah, again, it's just like I love the arts and the visuals that's going on with this album cycle. And I love the work that you did in the past too. I mean, it's just like looking back and just seeing all the different works that was a part of this band. It was so cool to see. But just like seeing this new evolution of the band, I love what's going on here. And it's got me excited to see what's going to be happening in the future now, especially with the band growing so much just from these singles alone, and then getting back into touring and doing shows and with the world trying to get back to some kind of normalcy and just being able to have that worldwide appeal going on, like as great as everything is going on right now, like the next release is just going to be so cool to see where you go from here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see where it goes from here. This album has been done for well over a year. I think we started recording it in 2020, actually. And then COVID happened. So I think we were planning on starting like before COVID hit, and then COVID hit and we had to postpone. And then like a month or a week, I don't remember how long we had to postpone for. And then we recorded it over the summer and the AC was out in the studio.
Oh,
It was terrible. But we've been holding on to this for so long that it's kind of weird to realize that it's brand new to some people when we've already written like 5 new songs to be recorded. So it's really cool to see it actually seeing the light of day now.
oh, for sure. And yeah, I would have been surprised if you hadn't written any new material in that time, because I mean, a couple years time, especially when you got those creative juices flowing, I mean, you want to be able to keep writing when you have the inspiration going. So I'm glad to see that you are working on new material already. That's got me very excited, because I mean, I'm already enjoying this album, and knowing that there's already new music that'll be coming out at some point, that's so great to hear.
Oh yeah, we're always writing. We never really stop. Jeremy kind of composes a lot of the songs, and then Ron and Jeremy get together and they just crank out some music.
Oh, so cool. So, obviously thinking about that, and of course, with the album coming out a month from today, seeing this reception and seeing the band grow and grow, and it's just so cool to see that. Like, what's going to be happening with the band after the release?
So we have some festival dates lined up. Well, we had more festival dates lined up, but then we were supposed to be playing in West Virginia, and that festival got postponed because Ginger was supposed to be on it. And obviously with the situation in Ukraine, they couldn't make it. And then we're playing in Michigan for the Michigan Metal Fest. And we're doing some supporting dates around that. And then we're hoping later on in the year to do more regional runs.
Oh, that's so great to hear that. And I love the fact that we are starting to get back to some kind of normalcy where shows are able to come back. They're safer. We're able to experience live music again, because it did get taken away from us. And the fact that it's slowly but surely coming back, it's such a great thing. And I can't wait to hear that live experience and being able to hear this band live, because I love what you do on record. I just imagine it's going to sound even better in the live setting.
Yeah, I'm really proud of our live show. We run in-ears now, which is a new thing for all of us. So we get to hear each other no matter where we are on the stage, which is awesome, because you get used to being in a band and not being able to hear your bandmates really on stage, depending on the place's monitors. So always being able to hear each other has been a game changer. And I'm really excited to get into new places and see new faces this year.
Oh, totally. And, the fact that you're able to do different kinds of setups like that too. I mean, obviously, whether you're doing an outdoor festival, whether you're playing in smaller venues, whether you're opening for bigger bands, and then eventually being able to do like main support or headlining shows, coming up as well too, and just seeing that fan base grow and grow, because I imagine that's what's going to happen here. I mean, the band has such a great sound. You have such a great voice that's able to hit a lot of people, and you write about such great concepts, and thematically, I think it's able to hit a lot of people. And when it comes out next month, I think a lot of people are going to experience that, and then the band is just going to be able to flourish from that.
I really hope so. Like, it's all of our dreams to be, musicians for a living and not have to work day jobs. And hopefully this gets us on that way there. I know it's just going to be a struggle and a long way off, but that's the goal.
Oh, for sure. And, just seeing where you started off and where you are now, and just seeing that progression, and just knowing that new material is going to be coming out. So we don't have to wait as long to be able to hear new material when that comes out. I mean, there's a lot of great things that are happening for you. And I'm so happy to see it. I love when I can discover a new band and just like see the rise of what they're able to do, and just seeing where you are right now. It's got me so excited for the future, just from the fan aspect, let alone what's going to be happening for you. So, it's been great being able to talk to you about all of this, from the start of the band, being able to write for this album, what to look forward to in the future. This has been a great time. And I thank you so much for taking the opportunity to be able to talk about all of it.
Absolutely. And thank you so much. It's been a blast.
Oh, awesome. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to mention that I hadn't brought up yet?
So we are releasing our album next month, July 8th, and accompanying that will be our final music video for the final single. And I'm really excited about that one.